If you follow my work, you know I spend a lot of time obsessing over developer workflows. Specifically, how we get code from a local machine into production without losing our minds. I'm joined again by Brian Hume, Director of Engineering at Max Planck. Brian, last time we spoke, you introduced Gene Cloud, a platform designed to turn Trello tickets directly into code changes. But we've both been busy since then. You've pushed a major update, and I actually spent the weekend putting the platform for a real stress test.
Thanks, Ivan. It's great to be back. And yes, I was really eager to hear how that stress test went. We've been shipping features specifically to address the friction we talked about last time.
Well, let's set the stage. The core promise of Gene is that a non-technical person, or a very busy technical one, can describe a change in a card, and the AI handles the architecture, the code, and the deployment preview.
Exactly. We want to remove the coordination overhead, the meetings, the estimates, the waiting that happens between a request and a release.
So, for my test, I didn't go easy on it. I tried to build a social media dashboard POC. The idea was to connect to LinkedIn, track metrics, and use the Google Gemini API to draft content, a proper full-stack application.
That's a solid test case. How did the initial setup handle that?
This is where I noticed the first big change. Previously, I had to manually add repositories and clone them. It felt a bit clunky. This time, I saw a quick start wizard.
Right. That was the number one piece of feedback. How do I just start? We built that wizard to guide you through selecting a branch on your repository and setting up the connector, which is the Trello board, without needing to understand the underlying Git plumbing.
It was definitely smoother. I used Gene to set up the project skeleton. Now, I have to be honest, as a Java guy, I have my preferences. Gene set up the backend with Maven, and I'm strictly a Gradle user.
Well, it's a little bit opinionated by default.
It is. But to its credit, it generated a working backend using Spring JPA and a React frontend that actually looked decent. However, we hit a snag. The AI used a reserved keyword for a database column name, the JPA entity. It couldn't resolve this conflict on its own.
That's a perfect example of why we call it an accelerator and not a replacement. It gets you 90% of the way there, but you still needed that engineering eye to spot the keyword conflict.
Exactly. I fixed it in 5 minutes. But here's the thing. Dealing with the files was interesting. I noticed you added the feature to add boilerplate directly.
Yes. We had users asking, can I start from scratch if I don't have a repo? Well, now you can select add boilerplate for Node or JavaScript, and Gene creates the project structure for you, acting like an npm install, but in the cloud.
That's useful, although I did make a rookie mistake during my test. I accidentally committed my Node modules folder to the repo.
Oh no, yeah, that's the classic mistake.
It caused chaos.
You know, I actually made a note of that during our last sync. I need to make sure the pull request generator automatically ignores Node modules or any kind of package, because if a user does that, the diffs are unreadable.
Please do. But despite that, I went from idea to working POC in 2 days. If I had done the front-end and back-end switching manually, it would have been a week. Now, I want to talk about the biggest feature you showed me, which I think is a game changer for architects. In the real world, we rarely have just one repo. We have a front-end in React, a back-end in Java or Node, maybe a microservice for billing.
Exactly. And previously, Gene treated every repo as an island. If you wanted a full stack change, you had to open a card for the frontend and another card for the backend and hope they synced up.
Which is a recipe for disaster.
Yes, that's why we introduced the project view. You can now link multiple repositories, say your React frontend and your Express backend, into a single context.
So the AI sees both?
Yes, when you move a card to analysis, Gene looks at both repositories. It understands that if you change the API contract in the backend, it needs to update the fetch call in the frontend.
That is massive. The context window usually stops at the repo boundary.
And the best part is the release process, because when you click Create Release, Gene generates the pull requests for both repositories simultaneously.
That solves the versioning nightmare. You don't merge the front-end breaking change before the back-end is ready. They go together.
Precisely. It keeps the full stack actually full stack. It's currently in beta, but for brownfield projects where you have enough existing context, it works incredibly well.
Speaking of context, you told me a story about something you built while you were on vacation. This sounded almost sci-fi.
Well, yeah. So I was away for the holidays, no laptop, just my phone, and I kept thinking about how often I get asked, can we build an app for a certain thing? Usually while I'm driving or away from my desk.
The napkin sketch moment.
Right. So I built an experimental feature using Siri shortcuts. I set up some API keys in Gene, tied them to a voice command, and while I was away, I tested it. I just dictated, create an application for ranking American football players.
And what happened?
Well, I put the phone away, and 10 minutes later, I got a notification with a live preview URL. Gene had spun up a React boilerplate, built the basic structure based on my voice prompt, deployed it, and sent me a link.
That is wild. You went from a spoken sentence to a deployable URL without touching a keyboard.
Yeah, it definitely creates a wow moment. Now, obviously, it's a boilerplate. It's not a finished SaaS product. But imagine being in a meeting with a client where they describe an idea, and by the time you leave the room, you email them with a working link to play with.
I told you this before, but I think you're underselling this if you only target developers. There is a huge market for marketing teams or non-technical founders who just want to visualize an idea.
I agree. It bridges that gap between I have an idea and I have something real.
It reminds me a bit of the R-loop concept, giving the AI a goal and letting it iterate until it's done. Have you looked into that?
I've heard of it, but haven't fully investigated it yet. But that's the direction, autonomous iteration.
We have to talk about the boring stuff, money. We've introduced pricing tiers now.
Yes, we have a free tier and an advanced plan.
I noticed on the free tier, you aren't limiting the number of prompts or issues I can solve. As a DevOps guy who pays cloud bills, are you sure about that?
You think I'm going to run up a huge bill?
I think if this takes off, your inference costs are going to skyrocket.
And you're probably right. But right now, we are optimizing for traction and not margin. If we hit a wall where we have too many users costing us too much money, well, I guess that's a good problem to take home to investors.
Fair enough. Growth at all costs.
Also, we are looking at business plans for the Trello integration side, because those boards can get expensive if they aren't managed right.
So, Brian, for people listening who want to try the multi-repo support, who just want to yell into their phone and get an app out of it, where are we?
Well, we're currently in early access. You can find us at genecloud.app. We are looking for teams who want to reduce friction. If you have a React frontend and a Node backend and you're tired of context switching, just come talk to us.
And just to clarify, if they use the free tier, they can just download the code as a zip file if they don't want to hook up GitHub directly yet.
Yes, we added a download a zip feature. It gives you the clean code without the Node modules, thankfully, so you can inspect it locally.
Perfect. Brian, thanks for walking us through the updates. It's fascinating to see it evolve from a coding tool to a project management to production pipeline.
Thanks for testing it out, Ivan. I'll go fix that Node modules bug now.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.